Do you have any idea what you're talking about?
No. Why do I sound like I do?
Welcome to MsMojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 things only adults notice in Clueless. For this list, we'll be looking at the most notable aspects of this classic teen movie that are more likely to stand out to the grown-ups watching. Some plot points will be discussed, so beware of potential spoilers ahead.
Ugh, as if!
Roll with the homies into the comment section and let us know what you think. Number 10, the makeover mythology. A stereotypical uncool character getting a makeover and suddenly becoming an it girl of sorts is practically a teen movie staple.
I don't care what my teachers say.
While She's All That provides one of the most iconic examples, Ty's makeover came a few years before and was just as problematic.
Everyone is gonna dress like me. Wait and see when I'm a supermodel.
At the time, it might not have seemed like anything more than a fun scene. And don't get us wrong, it is a good time. But as adults, we can't help but cringe at the message it sends, reinforcing stereotypical ideas about female beauty. This also ties into Cher's own struggles with body image and her disordered eating habits. Even she can't escape the harmful societal expectations placed on women and girls.
I had 2 bowls of Special K, 3 pieces of turkey bacon, a handful of popcorn, 5 peanut butter M&Ms, and like 3 pieces of licorice.
Number 9, Cher and Josh. We'll be the first to admit that the ex-step-sibling thing makes Cher and Josh's romantic involvement a little difficult to swallow.
He's your stepbrother.
But you were hardly even married to his mother, and that was 5 years ago. Why do I have to see Josh?
You divorce wives, not children.
But as much of a hot topic as that tends to be, it's not what we want to focus on here. Indeed, the other thing we noticed about their relationship as grown-ups is the age difference between the two of them.
You got your whole social world going on. I don't want to get in the way.
You won't be in the way.
While a few years might not seem like a lot at first glance, it is when one is a high schooler and the other is a college student.
Freshman psych rears its ugly head.
Hey, I am not taking psych.
As younger people watching the movie, we might have understood Cher's desire for a more mature man. But as adults, we know that Josh shouldn't have gone there. Number 8, the problematic stereotypes. Clueless puts a modern spin on Jane Austen's Emma, and it's very much a product and reflection of the 1990s, good and bad.
And in the grand tradition of PE teachers, Miss Stoger seemed to be same-sex oriented.
When you watch the film now with a more adult perspective, it's hard not to notice all the offensive ways different characters are portrayed and discussed. Indeed, people of color are quickly stereotyped. Cher's failure to tell El Salvador and Mexico apart when talking to Lucy stands out as one example, though it's far from the only one.
Great, what was that all about?
Lucy's from El Salvador.
So?
It's an entirely different country.
What does that matter?
This issue also extends to the cliched way sexuality is depicted, with the most prominent example being Christian.
Christian had a thing for Tony Curtis, so he brought over Some Like It Hot and Sporadicus.
There's no denying his characterization could have been carried out in a more thoughtful, fleshed out manner. Number 7, Ode to 2001: A Space Odyssey. We're going to assume that many young people who were watching Cher and co. do their thing back in 1995 hadn't seen Stanley Kubrick's 2001: A Space Odyssey. The classic film came out in 1968, so most folks who had watched it were adults by the time Clueless hit theaters. As such, they would have been the ones picking up on this quick but wonderful ode to 2001 in director Amy Heckerling's movie. The moment in question features a black, rectangular telephone framed from below, just like the monolith. And that's not all. Pay close attention to the music. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Number 6. The cast. This is one that only adults today would notice. Those in 1995 would have been almost as clueless as their younger counterparts.
So, okay, like right now, for example, the Haitians need to come to America. But some people are all, what about the strain on our resources?
That's because most of the famous stars in the movie weren't as famous at the time. Of course, actors like Wallace Shawn would have likely caught the eye of grown-ups watching even then.
Hi. Do you drink coffee?
Oh, not from this cafeteria. But yes, under normal circumstances.
Still, today we all know Alicia Silverstone, but pre-Clueless, she was probably most recognizable from Aerosmith videos. Paul Rudd had done a little TV, but this was his first feature film role. It was also the part that got everyone talking about Brittany Murphy.
How you like California?
Man, I'm freaking. I could really use some sort of an herbal refreshment.
And for both Donald Faison and Jeremy Sisto, Clueless came years before performances in Scrubs and 6 Feet Under respectively made them bigger names. Number 5. Travis's 12 Steps. In a lot of ways, Travis is a pretty stereotypical character.
Thanks. Those are really nice stickers.
Oh, you like them?
The skateboard-loving character doesn't seem to take academics too seriously and appears to regularly partake in herbal refreshments. However, his arc takes a turn you don't see too often in a typical teen movie, with a moment suggesting he's undertaking a sobriety journey. In a later part of the story, Travis apologizes to Cher for an earlier incident and provides an eye-opening reason for doing so.
See, I joined this club and they have all these steps. It's like...
12.
Yeah, 12. How'd you know?
Wild guess.
Of course, the line probably goes over the heads of younger viewers, but the adults in the room will recognize the concept of steps as being an important part of recovery.
This clarity thing, it's brought me to like a whole new level. I mean, like my skating, you gotta see it. Would you come Saturday?
Number 4. The amount of privilege. A younger crowd watching Clueless will obviously recognize the world of luxury Cher and her friends live in.
Here's where Dion lives. She's my friend because we both know what it's like to have people be jealous of us.
However, they might just be focused on the cool outfits, fancy cars, and Cher's awesome closet program. As we've gotten older, though, we've started becoming more aware of just how much wealth and privilege they have, and largely take for granted.
Want to practice parking?
What's the point? Everywhere you go has valet.
Sure, Cher does charity work and definitely grows as a person throughout, but she initially spends most of her time matchmaking or giving Ty a new look. And though Josh has a greater understanding of world affairs, he's still seemingly happy to make a mess for Lucy to clean.
Her life will be better because of me. How many girls can say that about you?
Of course, this excess is part of the point, but it's baffling to examine. Number 3. The bad driving. It's played for laughs in the movie, but there's nothing funny about how bad a driver Cher is.
Hello? There was a stop sign?
I totally paused.
Look, we get it. You can't expect teens to be pros right away, and many won't necessarily grasp that they aren't invincible on the road at first. So it's easy for youth to play off Cher and even Dion's poor behavior on the road as an entertaining running gag.
Okay, then I glance at my blind spot.
But through grown-up eyes, we understand how crucial it is to be careful when driving, since failure to do so could have devastating consequences. Armed with that knowledge, there's no denying the character's reckless behavior behind the wheel is downright terrifying. We're not even in the car and we find ourselves nervous watching them.
You can't park, you can't switch lanes, you can't make right-hand turns, you've damaged private property, and you almost killed someone. Offhand, I'd say you failed.
Failed?
Number 2. Elton's terrible behavior. We'd hope that anyone watching Clueless, regardless of their age, would understand how utterly unacceptable Elton's behavior toward Cher is.
God, Elton, can you suck?
But there's no denying that kids might not quite grasp the extent to which it touches on a prevalent and dangerous cultural issue. Consent is crucial, yet Elton refuses to take no for an answer, getting angry when turned down.
Stop it!
Fine.
Sadly, this sort of horrific behavior is all too common in society, even today. So watching the scene with more life experience, it's hard not to be affected by the dangerous realities the story is portraying. It's a good thing Cher makes it out of the situation relatively okay, mugging notwithstanding. But there's simply no excuse for Elton's disgusting, toxic attitude.
Get back in the car.
Leave me alone!
Fine.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. Girl power. On the surface, Cher and her friends might seem superficial, but don't underestimate them because of the Valley Girl accents. There's a lot more empowerment here than you might remember from watching the film as a younger person.
I would just like to say that physical education in this school is a disgrace. I mean, standing in line for 40 minutes is hardly aerobically effective.
For one thing, Cher is capable and independent, using her many smarts to achieve her goals.
And I know how you say never accept a first offer, so I figure these grades are just a jumping off point to start negotiations.
Very good.
She also really grows into herself, becoming a better, more well-rounded person, and showing that women contain multitudes through her many savvy conversations with her peers. In case you were wondering, yes, those chats mean the film passes the Bechdel test. In the end, the romance of it all is rather secondary, which is quite refreshing. Plus, the heart of the story is the female friendship between Cher, Dion, and Ty. It's not all fashion and matchmaking.
No. When I get married, I'm gonna have a sailor dress, but it's gonna be a gown. And then all my bridesmaids are gonna wear sailor hats.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from MsMojo and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.